Hello everyone, welcome back to Zenith. I know it's been quite late as per the promise because we decided that we'll be doing our lectures alternate days, but because of some issues we couldn't carry on with that. But it's never too late that we cannot start up again. So today I'm back with an explanation of We Are the Music Makers from Reverie chapter 10. This poetry is written by Sir William Edgar O. Shaughnessy. This poetry has a lot of invoice into it. The poet has tried to give voice to all those people who could not talk about how oppressed or how suppressed those are in their professions. There are artists, singers, poets, dancers, actors, authors, and sketch artists. There's so many who actually cannot come out in front of everyone and cope with the higher standard officials. The people who sit and run the entire world. Now what about these people who actually bring light into our lives? So in today's poetry, we are going to talk about from a poet's view that what are these people, why are they the gems of our lives, and how do they bring the light into our lives? So without further ado, let's plunge into the lesson. So let us talk about the line-wise explanation of the poetry. The first line says, we are the music makers and we are the dreamers of the dream. We as in we artists. The best part of this poetry is that it is not talking about one profession. It is talking about the whole artists. So what does this line mean? We are the music makers means we are the ones who bring happiness, who bring music in others' life. We are the dreamers of the dream means we are the ones who can dream beyond a certain dream. Means me and you as normal individuals, we can only dream beyond certain line. We want money, we want name, we want to be successful in every field where we are. But these people, they do not dream about themselves only. Their dreams does not last and ends within their own lives. They can dream beyond our dreams. They dream betterment for the entire society and at times for the entire world. The third line, and sitting by the desolate stream, wandering by the lone sea breakers. Wandering by the lone sea breakers means these people can be very easily found sitting at the beaches all alone. Wandering at the beaches all alone. Sea breakers means what? Sea breakers means where the sea comes to a break. And we all know it's a harbor or it's the beach. These people can be very easily found wandering at these points. Then the next line says, sitting by the desolate streams. They are often found sitting alone at the stream sides, busy in their thoughts, wondering how and what else can they do to improve the world around them. They dive deep down and bring the pearls of their wonderful thoughts that are very, very beneficial to the society. Upon whom the pale moon gleams. The moon in the sky gleams on everyone. But these people, they assume that because they are the only ones who actually talk about beauty, who actually appreciate the beauty of the moon. So the moon, according to them, shines for them because they appreciate its presence. Yet we are the movers and the shakers of the world forever, it seems. Now this line has got a very deep meaning. We as musicians, we as the people who bring happiness in the other's life, we are the movers and the shakers. We are the only one who bring the change into the world scenario. And of the world forever it seems. The world is forever going to depend on us, on our arts, on our skills, right? So that they wake up from their worldly dreams. They get up from the dreams they were lost into. When they read an article, when they see a painting that is shouting, that is actually grabbing their attention. So they shake them up and wake them up back from their dreams. Now let's talk about the second paragraph. With wonderful deathless deities, we built up world's great cities. Now what does that mean? With the blessings of gods, deathless deities, with the blessings of gods, right? We built world's great cities. Cities where everyone can live peacefully. A city where everyone is treated equally. A city where everyone is celebrated, where every profession is celebrated. And the next, and out of fabulous story, we built up an empire's glory. This line means that we as musicians, we as authors, we write historic events and people actually tend to believe into it. Now how do we know that all the empires and dukedoms and kingdoms, the kings especially, have been so great in their lives, have been extraordinary in the battlefields? It is only because of the history we have read. It is only because of the stories we have read. So these authors, they write wonderful stories and they fashion an empire's glory. They glorify an empire by writing good about it. Now if today you write something amazing about your place, wherever you are living right now, whichever part of the world you are right now, if you write about it today as an author, now after years or maybe after decades, people will actually believe that maybe in your time the situation was as mighty and great as you have written, as you have mentioned in your writings. So the author says here, the poet says here, that out of fabulous story we fashion an empire's glory. We write wonderful stories and we glorify the dukedoms, the empires. The next line says, one man with a dream at pleasure shall go forth and conquer the crown. There's so many people in the world, n number of men, but only one among those men has got the capability to surpass the crowd and sit on the realm and wear the crown. Yes, there are men. Now, we are so many of us in this world, but how many of us actually have got the courage to fight the world and choose our own right way and sit on the realm where people are actually craving to sit, but they do not know what it takes to sit on there? So one man with a clear head and a clear vision shall go forth and sit on the realm and wear the crown. The next line, and three with a new song's measure can trample an empire down. And then out of so many good people, there will be few, there will be counted people who can actually be very negative and can actually trample an empire down. One man can write an amazing story about an empire, and after generations, children and people believe that maybe it was the past. And out of those people only, there are very few who write negatives, who write bad about the empire, and they can bring it down into ashes. They break it into pieces only because of the thought and their writing. The last paragraph has also got a biblicious reference into it. First, we will discuss about the paragraph and then we will talk about what biblicious reference does it have. The line begins, we in the ages lying in the buried past of the earth. We, the musician, we as the people who bring light in the darkness of others. We are in the ages dying. There are so many authors, there are so many musicians, there are so many painters who are dead. And then there are some who are taking births. If I am a poetess, maybe today I will die and tomorrow somebody else will replace me. Some other poetess will replace me. So we are in the ages lying and we are buried in the past of the earth. We have always been into the world. We have always been a part of this world. Built 9 ways with our singing and Babel itself with our mirth. We can build huge towers. We can build 9 ways strong cities with our singing. And if we write, if we talk, if we write negative, about that place, we can actually babble itself down, we can actually break it into words. Now let's simplify this line. If I like something, I can write so good, I can glorify that piece of thing with my writing. And if I do not like it, I will write negatives of it, and I can actually babble it into words so that people who are reading my piece of art, they will tend to believe it. They will accept it as bad it is. So it is all in my head. The next line. And overthrew them with prophesying to the old of the new world's verse. We can actually prophesize. We can actually give ideas to so many inventions. Right? We can prophesize that the same thing is going to happen in years coming. Maybe someone will actually learn from that and will bring it into action. For example, if today I write about flying cars, right? And then there are scientists and authors, and there are people who are actually constantly busy in actually working on such machine, right? So maybe my piece of writing will motivate them, will give them idea that this thing can also happen. They can work. Someone years before said that the vehicles can run on waters. And there are any number of experiment, scientific studies going on based on this. Can water replace the fuel? This means what? Someone wrote whatever came into his idea about changing fuels or replacing fuels by water, and people are studying on it. The next line comes, for each age is a dream that is dying and one that is coming to birth. That means for every generation there is one dream that is going to die and another that is going to take birth. Now this line has got pun into it. First line means when we as individuals grow up, we have lots of simultaneous changes in our dreams. For example, maybe when I was 5, I wanted to become a scientist. Maybe at 10, I wanted to become an astronaut. But all of those dreams went dying and something else took birth instead. Right? And one, for every generation, for every group of individuals, there is one dream that they want to achieve. For example, in today's era, people are running after fame rather than creating their own name, rather than making history. Right? Maybe the next generation will have a different idea of living their life. So this means for every age, there's a dream that is dying, and then there's a dream that is ready to take birth. So this was the explanation of the poetry. Now, I also talked about that the poetry has got a biblical reference into it. Now let us talk about that. What biblical reference it is? Biblical reference means an incident from Bible, the Holy Bible. While I was preparing for the explanation of this chapter, I dived quite deep down into the theoretical aspects of the story. And one very interesting theory I got about the poetry is that there are two lines into this which are indirectly referred to a incident from Bible. The lines are, built 9 way without singing and babble itself without mirth. This line has actually taken from the story, from an incident when people of a city were so engrossed into sin. They were only at pleasures. They never thought that there is someone on top who is watching us constantly, who is marking every sin we commit at the same. God did not like his people into sin. He sent down Gabriel to people and asked him. The messenger of God came down and he said to people, dear people, stop committing sins. Become righteous again. The God is watching you. He will punish you for that. He returned after passing the message. The people wouldn't listen to the angels even. They thought, what else? What can happen? God, Jesus is no more on this earth. Jesus is no more in the world. Now nothing wrong can happen. Now nobody is here to punish us for whatever pleasantries we are into. What God did? One of his righteous men, which we call him Noah, he sent a message to him and asked him, Noah, you are the only righteous man in the city. I order you to make a huge vessel, a huge ship, and keep every pair of animal, every species, every bird, every reptile into that vessel with your family. Stay into it until the next message of mine comes. Noah, because he was an obedient servant of God, he agreed and he started making a huge vessel. While he was making the vessels, people would often come to see him and make fun of him that he has gone insane, he has gone mad. Now, why on earth they are going to need such a huge ship? Noah said, my God does what he says. My God doesn't like people into sin. And I am a loyal servant of him. I will do whatever he has asked me to. People laughed and left him. The last day when he was giving the final touch to the vessel, a man came and asked, Noah, just tell me, why are you making the vessel? Noah said, look up in the sky. There was a little piece of cloud floating towards the city. He said, that cloud is going to rain all cats and dogs for weeks and for months. We all will drown and die if we do not listen to God now. Listening to his reply, he mocked at him. He asked him, you really think that little piece of cloud into the sky, it is going to rain all cats and dogs, and that too for months and weeks? Mocking at him, he left the place. Noah did what he was asked to. God told him not to step out of the vessel unless a message comes to him again. He went inside with his family, with all those pairs of reptiles and animals and what all creatures were on earth at that time. And for 40 days and 40 nights, it rained. It rained until the people drowned. It rained until the entire city got devastated. And in the end, Noah got a message that it's time, my righteous man, come out of the vessel. He reached to a fresh new piece of land, and from there he started a new city building. This is one of the facts. Now, decades after, centuries after, one more incident happened in another city. The people were again so busy into committing sins, into having pleasance in whatever they enjoyed, whatever sins they loved doing so. Again, God asked people to go. Asked a messenger to go tell my people to stop committing sins. And here again, people, we humans are humans. They didn't lend their ears to that piece of advice coming from the angel. He returned back saying, oh my God, your people will not listen. And after angel left, people united together, had a meeting that whenever God punishes his people, the punishment falls in the form of either rain, storm or thunder. Right? If we really want to escape from God's punishment, why let us not unite together and build a huge strong tower? That was the Nineveh. People from all parts of the city accumulated together and they started building towers. All of them were so busy in doing so. God from the heaven looked at his people and he had nothing but to laugh. He said, they think that I have no other options. We all know that if God in the heaven decides that he wants to make the entire city into piece of ashes, piece of mirth, piece of dirt, he can do that. There's nothing impossible for God. This is what he did. He did not punish them this time physically. But what? When the entire city was half done building the tower, he invented different languages. Those people all of a sudden started speaking different languages. Now imagine people that there are n number of people busy building a tower and then all of a sudden they have started speaking different languages. Someone is asking to pass something The mason is asking for something, the person is passing him something else. They stepped down and they realized that this miracle has happened from the house of God. God has invented these languages, different languages, so that they get distracted and they stop doing this. And that piece of little message was that no matter how hard you try to escape away from the hands of God, He can catch you. We are always under His hand, and we should always be thankful that we are always blessed with His presence all around us. So this is what the poet is trying to express and explain to us, is that no matter how much we ignore these artists from different groups, but we are one or the other way surrounded with their presence. And every one of us has got a little glimpse of an artist. So this was the explanation of the poetry We Are the Music Makers by Sir O'Shaughnessy. I'll see you in the next class, where we are going to study a story maybe that is so close to your heart as well as it is for mine, Salvatore.